wake up one morning wondering why you don't have better. You wonder what's wrong. You question everything in your world, including yourself. You question why you're here. You question why you belong here. You question whether you even belong here. You question your value. You question everything that you believe. Why? As a black man, why do you question everything? As a black man, why do you sit here and not value yourself and feel as confident in yourself as you feel about other people? As a black man, why don't we just feel that perpetual state of happiness? And the thing is, I feel that perpetual state of happiness. And I know several other brothers who feel that perpetual state of happiness, but I think that a lot of us, a lot of black men really fall into the trap of the pursuit of happiness. Right? They say we have a right to pursue happiness. But then it makes happiness a means to an end to attain rather than a process. Right? Black men, I think we got a problem. And I think we can solve it. So let's get to talking. So my name is Anthony J. the Wolf Hunter. I'm a senior finance major at Morehouse College. If you don't know, that's in Atlanta, in the Atlanta University Center. Yeah, you know, we rock it out here. And I knew that I was going to launch a podcast on my birthday because I believe that the best way to celebrate my life is to share with others, is to acknowledge others, is to place stock and value in others, to say why I appreciate them. And somebody, when I was getting feedback for what I should talk about in a podcast, they said, talk about how to love yourself. And I thought about this and I was like, well, I'm a black man. I'm a son, I'm a big brother, I'm a younger stepbrother, a stepson, a godson, so on and so forth. And there's this identity discovery that one has to do to really figure out how to talk about how to love yourself. And I really, because this was a black man that asked me to talk about this, I thought, yes, let's do a podcast, let's do a whole series, let's do a whole thing about how to love yourself as a black man. And what I'm going to be covering today, which granted this is my first solo podcast, so spare me, right? Spare me in the comments. Don't sit here talk about how I got the ring light reflected in my glasses. We're going to really talk today about the importance of self-love for black men, right? And I think that really stems from our reality, and that's why I was painting a picture at the start, because not everybody subscribes to the ideas at the start of the podcast. Not everybody subscribes to the fact that, or the idea that they're not worthy. They don't subscribe to the idea that what they do doesn't matter. They don't subscribe to the idea that being confused in life is a problem, right? Because I don't. And I know the people that I work with don't. I know the friends that I've made do. And so I have this conversation with them often. Why are you questioning what you want to do in life? Why don't you just do what makes you happy? But sometimes there's just that mental block that they're just stuck where they are and not where they want to be. The thing is, there's a whole destination. There's a whole journey to get to a destination, and the destination for life is death at the end of the day. And if we can't acknowledge, or at least that's my belief, and if we can't enjoy the ride, why are we even here? Right? What is the purpose of being here if we're not enjoying the whole ride? And it's important to question where we are, right? But it doesn't make sense to question where we are to the point where we de-escalate and debase the life that we're already living, the foundation. You know, there are so many people that said, I made this from nothing. I made it from nothing. I had nothing. But the thing is, when you were born, you had a mother and you had a father, whether they were present with you. You had a world to stand on if you could stand. You had skin on your body, you had muscles, you had ideas, you had dreams. You had all of these things. You didn't make it out of nothing. You made it out of what you had. And that's the beauty of the thing. So I think one thing that we need to acknowledge as black men, first and foremost, is that we're here. We're here with everything that we do have right now. Take a moment to think about what you have right now. Comment in the comment section below what you appreciate, or some things that you just see around the room right now. What are some of your favorite products? What are some of your favorite brands? Those are the things that you have in your life right now. Let's acknowledge those things for what they are. Think about the things that make you smile next. That's the next thing that I want you to comment. Comment below what makes you smile. And if you have something, and the reason why I'm asking you to comment is not necessarily to boost the engagement, but because when you share, you give people the opportunity to learn about something new. And that's why I'm doing this podcast, is because I feel like maybe I'm not the one to tell you what to do, but I could be the one to hold the conversation that makes you figure out what you want to do to change and better your life. And so what I first wanted to talk about, in a black man's reality. That's what I'm titling this episode. A black man's reality. We have to talk about reality, but what makes up reality? It's not just everything that goes on in the world. It's how we perceive it. Perception has more to do with reality than reality, right? When you think about somebody's reputation, what do you remember? What made the headline? What made the text chain, right? We don't remember, we don't know the whole story. And that's why it's hard to judge a lot of the time what people are doing in their lives, because you don't know what was going on. But at the end of the day, people will come to a judgment anyway. I often say it doesn't really matter what I think, believe, or feel if somebody else feels uncomfortable with my presence. In my reality, I'm fine. But I understand that in their reality, they could have a problem with me, because maybe my presence could trigger traumas that they've experienced in the past that they haven't healed from, right? And so perception really does start in the minds of people, but that means that your reality is shaped right here. Everything that happens in the world goes through a neurological filter. That neurological filter is your brain. And that means that our reality really is made of a current feeling that we're feeling now, and a new reality or a new feeling. The feeling that we do want to feel, the feeling that we've convinced ourselves to feel. It is possible for us to shift our reality from where we are now to where we want to be if we start to cater our lives to that. I mean, think about when we talk about the man, when we talk about the invisible hand controlling the world, we're really talking about systems that were put in place to influence behavior. So if we start to put systems in place to influence our behavior, we can change our entire lives, right? A lot of people talk about how right now the current reality is the system works against black people. The system was made to marginalize black people. The system was made to keep us down. The system was made to prevent us from growing and excelling. But the thing is, a lot of black folks are making a lot of money right now. Some of them sold out, sure. Selling out really does mean like going against your morals for the money. But there are a lot of people who aren't selling out that are doing it big. Some people like Frank Ocean, right? These are guys that we really should look to guide the fact that we are capable. Because if one person can do it, everybody can do it. Maybe it won't be the same, but if one person can prosper, everybody can prosper. And that is really what I'm talking about today. That's what I'm really addressing today, is that you can make the change. You can be the difference. And I wanted to reference Big Sean's "One Man Can Change the World," right? Because one man can change the world. Every day, you are influencing your entire world. You have the decision to make yourself smile that day. You have the decision to make yourself agonize that day. One man, one person can change the world. You can change your world, and you can change the world of somebody else's world. And so when I think about this idea of neurological filters, when I think about our brain, when I think about the experience that we have, I think about sensation. What are the five senses, right? Touch, taste, smell, hearing, and sight. And so I want to start off with sight because I think sight is probably the most important of all the five senses. Because not only do we see in the world if we can see, but we see internally. Imagination. What are some things that we might see? We might see content that we consume, which includes like videos, memes, art, graphics, data, media, news, all of those different things. We might see a police chase, we might see a car crash, we might see somebody dead, right? And the more we consume those things, the more we believe that that is how reality works, right? But then there's also visuals in the real world that are those actual things that the media is covering. So think about it. The world has its own happenings. The media covers the particular happenings. The media could never cover everything. But if we did record everything, then we would be able to see all of what was happening in the world. But that just tells you that even the media only shows a particular view of what's going on in the world. And that's kind of how we work. People are kind of like cameras if you think about it. And this is kind of one of the ideas that kind of drives this, people merging with technology kind of idea, because at the end of the day, cameras and the computing is what we do with our brains. We see stuff and then we compute it and then we make decisions from there, right? So I just thought that was a neat thing. But the third aspect of sight that I wanted to cover is imagination, our creativity, what we see in our mind, the illusions, the delusions, the lies, the oh, I saw this scenario happening. Oh, I remember this. All of it is based in sight. You can see in your mind's eye what is happening. So I want you to keep that in mind, because that inner lens, imagination, really is your inner lens and your filter for what goes on in the world, how you've internalized it, and how you push your reality out into what's happening in the world. Second thing I wanted to address is hearing, because people are, we're made of water. We're all about vibrations. We're all about flow. And music speaks to us, words speak to us stronger than most things that in our reality. And so it's important for us to understand these rhythms. It's important for us to understand communication. It's important for us to understand nature and what tranquility sounds like versus chaos. But then, once again, to go back into the mind, what are our thoughts? What are the words that we're saying to ourselves? What are the words that other people have said to us that inform how we talk about ourselves internally and externally, right? Hearing is all about the external things that we take in, and then all of the things, the overthinking, the slow thinking, the fast thinking that takes place within our minds. Everything comes back here to the internal. And then I want to cover touch, whether you have the sensation of roughness, whether you're feeling pain, sensitivity, whether you're feeling heartache. All of these things are things that influence how our bodies are performing in relation to our mind, because our mind has to come to the conclusion that we need to make a change, right? And so this internalized stimulus could be from trauma, it could be from memory, it could be from reflex. And these are all things, this is a dance between the body and the mind and the brain, right? Next, I want to cover taste, all of these aromas, the food, but these also trigger more memories. When you had a particular smell, it takes you back to grandma's house. When you have a particular taste, you think about happiness, right? So we can start to trick ourselves into believing certain things based on taste. Same thing goes for smell. There really isn't a difference. It's that aromas, tastes, scents can alter how we feel and how we behave. But so this is what I really want us to address, is how do we use the senses to shift our reality, right? How do we take everything that's happening into the world, and how do we make particular changes in our environment and our behavior to change the reality up here. And so at first, I need us to recognize that reality is different for everyone. Not everyone has to believe what you believe. You don't have to believe what everybody else believes, because a good boundary to set is not everybody is for you and you are not for everybody. And that's just a principle that I live by. And nobody's ideas are more or less valid than yours. If you have an opinion and you're 10 years old, your opinion is just as valid as somebody who's 60, 50, somebody who is an expert in their field. Because at the end of the day, when somebody is trying to sell a product to a child, they need the child's perspective. When somebody needs to persuade somebody, they need to understand what that person believes so that they can understand how they think and then communicate with that person's language what they're trying to say with their data. Find the data that actually matters to that person. Communicate with their language, not yours, right? So your what you believe is not more or less important than what anybody else is, just as important. Everything that you believe matters. Everything that you want matters. That's something that we need to recognize. And also recognize that you have control over how you react to certain things. Now, granted, there are uncontrollable things in the environment, but you control when you decide to be silent. And silence is a response. You decide when you want to scream. You decide when you want to be angry. You decide when you want to be happy, believe it or not. And this is something that we're going to talk more about in the podcast. But I really want to start with empowering you, to let you know that you are 1 in 8 billion. To let you know that you are 1 in 8 billion now, and then billions and billions of other people in the past. You are you. You were the only you that could happen in reality. I really want to solidify the empowerment aspect of this self-love, because if you don't recognize and value yourself, I mean, how are you ever going to really truly understand what it means to love yourself, right? How can other people love you if you don't love yourself? And we're going to talk more about this in the next episode, but I do need to hurry up. So some key factors to take into account when you're going to change your life. Become a student. Look at your life. Think about your thoughts. Think about the things that make you happy, and think about the things that you feel are problems. Now, I make it a rule to not focus on problems. I focus on solutions. So when I see something that I think is a problem, I think, how do we solve this? I think, who can solve this? I think, who's qualified to solve this? I think, who's interested in solving this? And I think, who perpetuates that problem? Who's sitting here complaining about the problem instead of solving the problem? Because somebody who complains about a problem is looking for attention and not an end to the problem. We'll talk about that later too. But so I want you to first become a student of your thoughts. That's called metacognition, thinking about your thinking. I want you to think about these problems and pleasures, because now I want you to consume. I want you to change what you consume to the pleasures and to solutions. So when you're scrolling through Instagram and you see things that make you happy, I want you to keep those things. And when you see things that are traumatic, I don't want you to keep those things. I want you to block them. Or if they're a distraction, I want you to block them. If it's something that's taking you away from your goal, distracting you from your goal and how you want to feel and how you want to live your life, I need you to block it. And then we're going to temper that by saying, if there is something that triggers you, let's figure out why it triggers you, and let's think about finding a solution to that problem. Maybe you need to talk to a therapist, or maybe you need to do some more research so you can understand it better and you can figure out a justification for it or how to rationalize it in your mind. Another thing that we need to do in order to consume solutions, it means that the importance of consuming solutions means that you are trying to figure out how to make significant changes. It means that you are trying to figure out how to better the world, because that's what a solution is. Once we see a problem and we find a solution, now we are one step closer to being able to understand how to better the world, right? Because if a problem in the world is that people don't know how to smile and you're a comedian, next thing you know, you start talking and you build the skill of being a comedian, of being funny, and now you can make people smile. If the problem is putting food on the table, you can teach yourself agriculture, and so you start to realize that you have more options. When people start to see death, when people start to see corruption, they think normally they think, oh my gosh, this is a problem, not oh my gosh, here are some options to solving it, right? And I think the initial reaction is important. It is important to feel what you feel. It's also important, it's just as important, maybe even more important, to figure out how you can make the necessary changes so that that's not happening in your community, or that you can make the change in your community. And so that's what I want to acknowledge next, is that your efforts are important. Everything that you do, every step that you do, even the smallest thing. And this is, I recommend reading the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, because he talks about how the book is a step by step guide about how small actions can make big changes in your life, right? So small things matter. And I want you to acknowledge every step of the way that if you're trying to make a change, you need to acknowledge that even the smallest things can have the greatest significance in your life. And the last thing, the last thing that we're covering in this video is be creative. Be creative. That's literally what my entire channel is going to be about, or is about, is that we're going to be creative. We're going to find solutions. We are going to explore even the craziest ideas. If we get excited about an idea, that's the time to strike. We need to act on it. We need to figure out how can we make this happen so we can learn whether it works or not. Because at the end of the day, if a tree falls in the forest and no one was there to hear it, did the tree fall? Okay. If you had a thought and nobody heard it, and that thought could have changed the entire world, but if nobody heard it, was it actually powerful? Was it actually significant? I don't know. But if you had the thought, share it. Don't share it with the people who are disbelievers. Share it with the people who actually encourage you and believe in you. And if you don't have those people in your life, find them. That's another way to change your life. Build your support system. Find people who actually believe in you. And that is a key step, is if you don't believe yourself that you're valuable, if you don't believe in yourself, find people who do believe in yourself, because the more you talk to those people, the more you'll have reminders to believe in yourself. And so, with that being said, I want to close this video out just to bring up a few resources that talk about self-love. AUC.C.H.I.L.L, I'm the president of AUC.C.H.I.L.L at Morehouse College. Counseling Humans in Life Lessons, that's what CHILL stands for. We're on Instagram. We're a mental health advocacy organization, so we talk about wellness, we talk about financial habits and how that hurts us. We talk about our mental health. We talk about our emotional wellness. We talk about our physical wellness, our spiritual wellness. We talk about every aspect of life and how we can deal with that as students. And it applies really to everybody. Mental health is for everybody. So if you want to learn a little bit, if you want to join a community of people who care about mental health and growing as students and learning more about ourselves, and also just making it through college to set ourselves up right for adulthood, then go follow AUC.C.H.I.L.L on Instagram. We also just released a podcast called Chill, We Got You, on our YouTube channel. So look up AUC.C.H.I.L.L on YouTube as well. Look for the Chill We Got You podcast. Another resource that I think is definitely beneficial on YouTube and Instagram is Express Yourself Black Man. And on Instagram, they also have a community called Black Men Safe Haven, and it's run by this guy named Kizzle. I talked to him a couple of times. I really support what he's doing for the community. And if you want to just be a part of the community, hear some affirmations, be a part, consume the content that is supportive of your success and what you want for yourself. I think that is a perfect site. I think it's a site that's beneficial not only just for Black men, but also for Black women. So that's my recommendation there. And also for all the Black men, and actually for anybody that's watching this, read the book The Miseducation of the Negro by Carter Goodwin Woodson. I listened to it on Audible. I'm not much of a reader. I'm more of a writer, or I'm more of an actuator. I like to realize stuff. I like to do stuff. So it's easier. It helps me to just listen to audiobooks. And over the next few episodes, I'm going to talk a lot about reading. I'm going to talk a lot about expanding your vocabulary so that you can better express yourself to others, and also better and more efficiently communicate with yourself. I also recommend reading the book Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. He tells a story of his life and literally being born illegally in South Africa, in his own home, right? With all the happenings in his life. And so I think that he has a lot of gems in there about living life, about setting boundaries, and about dealing with issues when people don't want you. I think that's a super important book. I also recommend going on YouTube and Instagram and looking up Home Team History. It's a site that talks a lot about African history, talks about the diaspora, talks about historical leaders, talks about kings, pharaohs, queens, talks about different dynasties that were led by African leaders, talks about different explorers, um, talks about the different Afro diasporic communities that ended up traveling and developing in the Americas, traveling and developing in Madagascar and all over the world. I think that it's important for us to understand our history, our past, so that we can understand where we're going into the future, and so that we can recognize where we are right now. It all starts with knowledge. That's really what we're addressing here. But if there are any other resources that I've missed that I haven't touched on, please comment below what you want to see. But also, please subscribe, hit the like button, and if you don't like the video, tell me what you don't like about the video. Don't hit the dislike button. Comment and say, I don't like the way that your hair looks. And if you don't like the way that my hair looks, I normally wear an afro. Yeah, that's right. I normally wear an afro. So be prepared to see my afro in the future, because it looks good. But yes, hit the like button. Please subscribe. Turn on the bell for the notifications. I'm thinking about doing this every Sunday. And I'm really trying to, my goal is to really be consistent. That's really the goal right now. It should just be consistent, but to also help educate people and to bring value to the community, because I really enjoy life a lot. I'm a world traveler, champion in Taekwondo. I'm a black belt. I'm the president of this mental health organization. I'm about to graduate college from the prestigious Morehouse College. So I feel like it's very important to give back to the community. I keep telling my friends that this page really is not about me. It's about what you want to do. It's about what you want for your life. It's about you finding your success. And so while I go through my journey of building my dreams and my reality, making the reality that I want, making the world in my image, I think that you're very capable of making the world in yours. And I want to be a part of that, and I really want to support you in that. So thank you for staying if you're still watching. And please share this with your friends. It's my birthday, so it would be a great birthday present if you would share this with your friends. And my birthday is December 4th, so that's why I'm rushing to get this finished, because I need to post it before midnight, and technically it just hit midnight, so I'm behind on schedule. But every Sunday I'm gonna be releasing a video to educate people, and hopefully I'll be able to make more content around creativity, not just mental health, not just self-love, but I really want to focus on creativity and building a life through personal development and building relationships with people and exposing ourselves to new things in the world. So thank you for watching. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and comment what you want to hear about in the future. Comment what you learned. Actually, for anybody who wants to be a content creator, why don't you make a video about what you learned in here, and then tag me, and then I'll look at it and I'll be like, oh, okay, so this person watches my stuff. I want to interview them on the podcast. And I will interview you and have a conversation with you, because I think that's important. And I want to hear what you guys have going on in your lives, so that we can talk about bettering your lives. If you feel like your life needs to get better, if you don't feel like your life needs to get better, I want to know what you're doing. Teach me. Teach me how you reach the zen or the happy or the competitive edge. Teach me. I want to learn. Anyway, peace. Thank you. Breathe in. Breathe out. We're going to have to make this work and we're going to have to go with it. So let's get it. You wake up one morning and your son or your brother